Hi, and welcome to this tutorial which will show you the first steps in producing an Angry Birds game in Scratch. Now the first thing I'm going to really need to do is to import some of the sounds and the graphics that I'm going to use for this game. So I'm going to begin first of all actually by going to my stage. So I'll click stage, and then I need a background that I'm going to use for the game. So you should find the background on the VLE. There's a folder with Angry Birds media in it, and you can just download it. So I'm going to import it from where I've saved it. So I've gone to backgrounds, import, and then I'm going to go to where I've saved it. So Scratch resources, Scratch, and then what I've also got. Here we go, in here, navigate to the folder where it is, and now I've got Angry Birds background, and you can see as well I've got the sprites in there that I might want to use as well. So just click OK, and that's imported my background onto the stage. Obviously Scratch Cat's not going to feature in this, so I'm going to delete Scratch Cat and get rid of him, and I'm going to start by just importing the bird sprite and the pig sprite. So I'm going to go to the new sprite option here, and I'm going to go choose new sprite from file, and I'm going to go back to the folder where they're saved. So I would make sure, if I were you, that you have downloaded all of them first and that you've saved them somewhere where you can find them. Angry Bird. Okay, and you can see that's perhaps a little bit on the large side. So one of the first things I'm obviously going to need to do with that is to make it smaller. So I'm going to shrink the sprite. It's a bit of a giant bird, and we need it much smaller than that, or our game's not really going to work. So that's probably about right. You can always change that if you want it, and just now we can find the pig sprite as well, and we're going to need 2 pig sprites. You might want to add more later on, so I'm going to add my sprites, and then we'll look at the next bit once I've done that. Okay, so I've added both my pig sprites and I've resized those as well. So what we need now is we need the catapult, and we need the 2 towers for the pigs to stand on. Now I'm going to add the catapult a little bit later, and you'll see why shortly. Well, the other thing I need to do is rename the sprites. I think it's a good idea for you to get used to renaming sprites so you know what they are when you're using them in your program. It'll make a lot more sense if you're seeing the words, the names describing the sprites in your program, rather than just sprite 1, sprite 2 and sprite 3. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move these out of the way for the moment. We won't worry too much about putting them in the right place yet. I'm going to create a new sprite, which is going to be the tower. So I need a tall tower and a short tower. So I'm going to use the brush. I'm going to go for a reasonably chunky brush, and then I'm going to draw quite a tall tower that it can sit on. So there you go, I've added that, and then obviously what I can do is I can move that to where I want it to go. So I'm going to stick it quite near the edge of the screen, and then I'm going to, if I'm being, we're not actually going to use the program with these sprites, but we'll name them anyway just because it's good practice to do that. And then we'll create one more sprite, which is going to be a smaller tower. I need to again choose my brush, go for something a little bit smaller. You need to make sure that your level is possible as well, so don't do ridiculous towers that people won't be able to hit the pigs from. So move that onto there, and then obviously what I can do is I can drag my pigs on top of the tails and sit them where I want them to go. So that's worked. I might actually drag them along a little bit more. Okay, we can always obviously tweak and change that. We won't add the catapult just yet. The next thing I'm going to do is add the sound. So you might want to do this, you might want to leave this, but I think it's nice to add some atmosphere to our game by putting some sounds in. So I've got some of the Angry Birds sounds, and you should find on the network again on the VLE that we've put some Angry Birds sounds for you to use. So I'm going to go to Sounds, Import, and again you need to find your way to the Angry Birds resources folder and download the ones that you need. So if I go to Angry Birds files, there you go, I've got 3 sound effects and I'm going to import all 3. So the fly sound effect will be what we hear when they launch the bird. The level complete is a little jingle that plays when they win, and the slingshot is obviously the sound that you hear when they're moving the catapult. So I'm going to click first of all Angry Birds fly, we'll just put that in, and then I'm going to import. There you go, level complete, and then we want, there we go, there's the sling and there's slingshot. Okay, so there's our 3 sounds, and we've got the basis of our game now, and all we need to do is program it. So in the next video we're going to start to set up the variables that we use in our game and begin programming.